Good morning. Welcome to the First Parish UU of Medfield. This congregation first gathered in 1651. This historic meeting house was built in 1789 on the unceded ancestral land of the Wampanoag. Welcome to this place. Here we search for truth and understanding. We celebrate life and contemplate its mysteries. We share healing and wholeness. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we welcome you to this congregation. I now welcome Margaret Rolfe to light the chalice.
My beloved people, I cannot pretend, and so I will not tell you that everything is okay right now, that there is no reason to be angry, that you must be optimistic or at peace. I cannot pretend these things, and so I won't tell them to you. But now our chalice is lit. And so all I ask in this moment is that we remember the words of Rebecca Parker. There is a love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all. By the light of our chalice, let us rest in this love.
Welcome to this place. Here we search for truth and understanding. We celebrate life and contemplate its mysteries. We share healing and wholeness. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad that you are here with us today. And now we'll do is responsive. Now we'll sing hymn 361, Stand Up If You Are Able, in spirit or in body. Enter, rejoice, and come in. So today is Poetry Sunday. There are 3 aspects to poetry. First, make it interesting. Second, make it beautiful. And third, give it an attitude. So pay attention to that. As you listen to the poem, see if you can hear those 3 things. One of my favorite writers, Robert Browning, said in his poem, Sordello, "The office of the poet has been for the worst of us to say that we have seen, for the better to say what it was we saw, the best to impart the gift of seeing to the rest." And with that, I welcome John Cornett to read one of his favorite poems by Matthew Alsman.
And I have to admit that I was looking for poems, and luckily I have a sister who's a writing teacher. So this is actually one of her favorites too. This is called Mountain Dew Commercial Disguised as a Love Poem by Matthew Alsman. So here's what I've got. The reasons why our marriage might work. Because you wear pink but write poems about bullets and gravestones. Because you yell at your keys when you lose them and laugh loudly at your own jokes. Because you can hold a pistol and get a pig. Because you memorize songs, even commercials from 30 years back, and sing them while vacuuming. You have soft hands. Because when we moved, the contents of what you packed were written inside the boxes. Because you think swans are overrated and kind of stupid. Because you drove me to the train station. You drove me to Minneapolis. You drove me to Providence. Because you underline everything you read and circle the things you think are important and put stars next to the things you think I should think are important, and write notes in the margins about all the people you're mad at. And my name almost never appears there. Because you make that pork recipe you found in the Frida Kahlo cookbook. Because when you read that essay by Rilke, you underlined the whole thing, except the part where Rilke says love means to deny the self and be consumed in flames. Because when the lights are off, the curtains drawn, and an additional sheet is nailed over the windows, you still believe someone outside can see you. And one day, 5 summers ago, when you couldn't put gas in your car, when your fridge was so empty, not even leftovers or condiments, there was a single 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew, which you paid for with your last damn dime, because you once overheard me say that I liked it.
Thank you, John, who's doing double duty today. He's also the tech. And now we have the Time for All Ages, that Louise Rachin.
Come on up here, children and children of all ages. I'm going to sit down. So, who had a happy Valentine's Day? You know what I did for Valentine's Day? And this was a first. I discovered glitter with my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old granddaughter and grandson. And glitter is wicked fun. It's wicked messy, but that's kind of why it's so much fun. We were having a really good time making Valentines for their parents who went out on a date while my husband Duncan and I watched the children. And at one point, the fun got a little bit too much fun when they decided they were going to glitter me. And because I was laughing while I told them to stop, I don't think they got the message. But we cleaned it up, and the house was not a total mess when their parents came home. Yes. Come. Use the mic. All right, I'll come. All right, I'll come to you. Jeez, how old? You're supposed to come to me.
Is there still glitter everywhere?
I think there will be glitter in that house until next Valentine's Day.
Maybe until they go to college.
Yeah. And it'll be something that their parents think of me not so fondly every time they find another little piece. I have a question for you guys. Do they still do Valentines at school? Do you still do Valentines? Okay. So I remember when I was little, back in the Paleolithic era, when we did Valentines at school, you were expected to bring a Valentine for everybody in your class, not just the person you might be sweet on. Is that still the case? No, yes? That was a strong perhaps. Yeah. And my mom would get a list of the children in my class just in case I accidentally forgot to have a Valentine for somebody who for some reason I wasn't fond of that day. So I'm glad that you still do it, but I hope you give everybody a Valentine. Good. Somebody raised their hand. Did you have a question? No? Okay. So I have a poem that Thea gave me, and it's a beautiful poem, and I need a little help. So I was hoping that I could pass out different portions of the poem, and you would help me read it, okay? My trusted assistant will hold this for a minute. This poem is called Lunchbox Love Notes, and it's by Ken Nisbet. And I'll start us off. Inside my lunchbox, to my surprise, a perfect heart-shaped love note lies.
The outside says, "Will you be mine, and will you be my Valentine?" I take it out, and I wonder who would want to tell me I love you.
Perhaps a girl who's much too shy to hand it to me eye to eye.
Or maybe it was sweetly penned in private by a secret friend
Who found my lunchbox sitting by the slide, the note on the
See, the sly. That means
on the
kind of
sly.
not letting people know you're doing it. Yes, but not yet. Great, you get to do one too. 'Cause I don't want you to- Oh, yeah.
Can't have that. Oh, I'd be thrilled if it were Joe, the cute one in the second row.
You got attitude, my friend, with that one. Okay. So, here's one more.
Or could it be from Jennifer? Has she found out I'm sweet on her? My mind's a buzz, my shoulders tense. I need no more of this suspense.
My stomach lurching in my throat, I open up my little note.
Then wham, as if it were a bomb. Inside it reads, I love you, Mom.
Well done. Sorry you got left out, but will you be my Valentine?
No.
You're not the first person who's with me. Thank you, children. That was fabulous. I really appreciate your participation. And you sing the children now or not? Yes. Candles, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you. And now I invite Becca Cornett up for Candles of Joy and Sorrow.
Good morning. I'm Becca Cornett from the Pastoral Care Team. This is the time when folks are invited to come up and share a joy or a sorrow with this amazing community. So if you would like to, please come forward, state your name, share your joy or sorrow, and light a candle, and I'll have John let me know if there are folks on Zoom who would like to do the same.
And now we'll sing the children out. As we enter a time for meditation and reflection, allow these words to gift you a moment of silence. They're by David White. Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here. This opening to the life we have refused again and again until now. Until now.
Spirit of truth, of light, of
now invite Jess Braza up to read a little piece by Mary Oliver.
This is Becoming a Poet by Mary Oliver. I decided very early that I wanted to write, but I didn't think of it as a career. I didn't even think of it as a profession. It was the most exciting thing, the most powerful thing, the most wonderful thing to do with my life.
And our next poem is going to be read by John Cornett. We had to have Shakespeare as part of today, and this is my favorite sonnet by Shakespeare. So, John Cornett. I did not give the title, I just said it was Sonnet 116.
Yes, we can't have a Poetry Sunday without a little Shakespeare, right? Sonnet 116. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's full, though rosy lips and cheeks within his blending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever looved.
Thank you, John. And our next poet is Louise Rachin. Because we have to have Billy Collins here also.
This Billy Collins poem is called Aimless Love. This morning, as I walked along the lake shore, I fell in love with a wren. And later in the day with a mouse the cat had dropped under the dining room table. In the shadows of an autumn evening, I fell for a seamstress, still at her machine in the tailor's window, and later for a bowl of broth, steam rising like smoke from a naval battle. This is the best kind of love, I thought. Without recompense, without gifts or unkind words, without suspicion or silence on the telephone. The love of the chestnut, the jazz cap, and one hand on the wheel. No lust, no slam of the door. The love of a miniature orange tree, the clean white shirt, the hot evening shower, the highway that cuts across Florida. No waiting, no huffiness, no rancor, just a twinge every now and then for the wren who had built her nest on a low branch overhanging the water, and for the dead mouse, still dressed in its light brown suit. But my heart is always propped up in a field on its tripod, ready for the next arrow. After I carried the mouse by the tail to the pile of leaves in the woods, I found myself standing at the bathroom sink, gazing down affectionately at the soap. So patient, so soluble, so at home in its pale green soap dish, I could feel myself falling again as I felt it turning in my wet hands and caught the scent of lavender and stone.
Now I open the lectern up to anybody else in the congregation that would like to read a poem. I think there is one that Mary Corthell was not able to read. David, we'll start with that one, and then David.
I'll read this on behalf of Mary Corthell. It's called Dead Stars by Ada Limon. Out here there's a bowing even the trees are doing. Winter's icy hand at the back of all of us. Black bark, slick yellow leaves, a kind of stillness that feels so mute it's almost in another year. I am a hearth of spiders these days, a nest of trying. We point out the stars that make Orion as we take out the trash. The rolling containers, a song of suburban thunder. It's almost romantic as we adjust the waxy blue recycling bin until you say, man, we should really learn some new constellations. And it's true. We keep forgetting about Antlia, Centaurus, Draco, Lacerta, Hydra, Lyra, Lynx. But mostly we're forgetting we're dead stars too. My mouth is full of dust, and I wish to reclaim the rising, to lean in the spotlight of streetlight with you, toward what's larger within us, toward how we were born. Look, we are not unspectacular things. We've come this far, survived this much. What would happen if we decided to survive more, to love harder? What if we stood up with our synapses and flesh and said no to the rising tides? Stood for the many mute mouths of the sea, of the land? What would happen if we used our bodies to bargain for the safety of others, for Earth? If we declared a clean night? If we stopped being terrified? If we launched our demands into the sky, made ourselves so big people could point to us with the arrows they make in their minds, rolling their trash bins out after all of this is over.
Thank you. David.
When I was in high school, which when I think about it now, it's surprisingly long ago, I was in an organization called LRY, Liberal Religious Youth, which was the Unitarian National Youth Group, or international actually, supposedly the only youth-run and managed organization in the country. And we loved E.E. Cummings because he broke the rules, because he did weird things with punctuation, because he was boldly erotic and unapologetic about it, and because his poems were hard to figure out sometimes, but it was fun to try. So this one doesn't have a title. Here's to opening and upward, to leaf and to sap, and to your, in my arms, flowering so new, self, whose eyes smell of the sound of rain. And here's to silent, certainly mountains, and to a disappearing poet of snow, excuse me. And here's to silent, certainly mountains, and to a disappearing poet of always, snow, and to morning's beautiful friend, twilight, and a first dream called ocean. And let must, or if be damned with whomever's afraid, down with ought, with because, with every brain which thinks it thinks, nor dares to feel, but up with joy, and up with laughing and drunkenness. Here's to one undiscoverable, Here's to one undiscoverable guess, of whose mad skill each world of blood is made, whose fatal songs are moving in the moon.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Jeanette?
This is another poem from E.E. Cummings. It does not have a title. I think E.E. Cummings is one poet that it's amazing to hear the words, and it's also to see them on the page because of the odd punctuation and so on. But the punctuation is hard to verbalize. But this is a favorite. I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping, greenly spirits of trees, and a blue, true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I, who have died, am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birth day of life and of love and wings and of the gay, great happening, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any, lifted from the no of all nothing, human merely being, doubt, unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened.
Beautiful. Yes, the love poems of E.E. Cummings are gorgeous. One of my favorite ones is Somewhere I've Never Traveled. It's beautiful. They're all beautiful. Thank you. Who else? Anybody else? Okay. I now invite Don Rolfe to come up from the fundraiser committee.
Well, I look around at this beautiful building, and I look around at this beautiful community, and I look around at the volunteers who read the beautiful poems today, and we realize that this community lives because of our pledges, our volunteer time, and our donations to help this community thrive. And with that in mind, your generous donations to help this community will be greatly received.
now sing hymn 108, My Life Flows on the Endless Song. Please stand up if you are able, in body or spirit. Closing words are from Mary Oliver. You can have the other words, chance, luck, coincidence, serendipity. I'll take grace. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'll take it. I'll now extinguish our chalice to end our morning worship. Let our service begin.